morning, everyone. Welcome to Moving the Chains here on Team NBS Media. My name is Ashmir. If you're new here, thank you for tuning in. And we have a very exciting day, a lot of things to talk about, games to talk about, the team chatter segment. And today we've got a special guest with us. Thomas Brown is here joining the squad in for Joe because Joe is doing great things in Florida. Once again, he's training his new squad. So, Thomas, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I figured with me subbing in for Joe, I felt like it was just right for us to be in the winner's circle. I can't really say that with you, Ashmir, given what the Chiefs did, but
Or they didn't do. They really didn't do.
Yeah, they didn't do. But I figured I needed to sub in for the number one team leading the NFC East. I figured it would be proper for a guy like myself to join this week. So I'm glad he chose me. Ironically, in division, kind of proud.
It's funny because week 5 we were like the Eagles are down bad, and Thomas was wearing blackout shades. Okay, if you were watching that round table show, he was like, nobody talk to me. I don't even know what's happening. I'm going to pull this banner down behind me. And now he's like gloating properly. So it's just funny how quickly the NFL can change.
Oh, man.
Thomas, you could always thank Jeff Rodamus here because I said it 2 weeks ago when you're going into that week where you're going to play the Redskins on Thursday night, the Commanders on Thursday night. Now they're talking about possibly going back to the other name. I think it slips out, right? Freudian slips, right?
Right.
That was the week where the Eagles take control of the East. And since then, they have done just that. So Jeff Rodamus and his great foresight speaks to it again.
I appreciate all of it. It's very greatly appreciated. We need all of it. We need more of it. Thank you.
Thank you. I will do that, Greg, whenever you need.
I promise I won't be overzealous. I promise. Relax. Okay.
Relax. All right. Well, to intro our show, we're going to start with everyone's favorite way, which is to see where's everybody in the rapid fire standings. So, Jeff, how are we doing?
Well, Ashmir, you'll be happy to know that you are back in the lead.
Oh, thank
yes,
God.
That's right. I got Eberflus out of the lead, so therefore you were back up by 1 game. All right, so you're up by 1. Greg had a little bit of a slip back last week. Everybody was up there around 13-3, 12-4, and Greg slipped back. So Joe is catching up to him. Joe's only 3 games behind him, and he's fallen to 6 games behind me and 7 behind you. So overall, we're kind of we're getting everybody's got winning records. So we're starting to get a feel for who the teams are. Like I said, it started to happen around midseason. We weren't seeing those abysmal records we had at one point where we had like 6 or 7, picks of unanimous picks going awry.
Yes.
We're starting to see everything come back to normal now. You realize who the teams are. It's quite competitive though. Like I said, thank you, Matt Eberflus. I appreciate you. I really do. Yeah.
Well, speaking of, I feel like let's get into our team chatter because we have a lot of headlines to break down for this week.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Team chatter. But why not? Let's just get this right out the way, shall we? That's right. We're going to just jump right into it. Thanksgiving Day, Bears fans were feeling dread because their team was getting beat for a half. All of a sudden, there was new life. They're coming back. There's a chance on the final drive they win. And then, of course, Matt Eberflus strikes again. In another close game, they fall in the most inexplicable way known to man. And what happens? He goes out to the press conference and stands on it. I'm going to double down on this and say, no, we had a plan, and that plan went wrong, and we lost. But we had a plan, damn it. Well, guess what? There is no more flus running loose in Chicago because they said, you know what, take your plan and shove it, okay? Plain and simple. This man deserved it. I'm sorry. I do not, as a coach, I do not sit here and always advocate for firing a coach, but sometimes a coach righteously deserves to get fired for making stupid decisions. As a head coach, you have the responsibility to manage the game. When you are at 30 seconds and that clock is running, your team is in disarray, you can't get to the line of scrimmage, and that clock hits 20 seconds, and you have a timeout sitting in your pocket, you burn the timeout, get your team together, and give your team the best chance to win. No, you don't stand there and freeze on the sideline. Because you froze on the sideline, you lost, and now what? Guess what? You're really freezing on the unemployment line. So kudos, Matt Eberflus. You did a great job of freezing yourself out of a job. Way to go. Bang up job, buddy. All right, moving on. Okay, so new year, new me. How about new home, new me, right? Now let's talk about Daniel Jones. Well, Daniel Jones found a new job in purple, right? So after the Giants sent him on his way with his guaranteed money, okay, he goes over and says, you know what, I'm going to wait and see what happens when I clear waivers. And the Minnesota Vikings come up. They're talking about failing upward, right? The guy goes to a winning team that's going to probably make the playoffs, right, and have a chance to actually do something while his old team that he was paid handsomely to lead is just going to be floundering in the wind for the next 3 years until they figure out which direction they go to. So it was about failing upward, new home, new me. Way to go, Daniel Jones. All right, so, Greg, it wouldn't be right if I didn't mention this, so we're mentioning it. All right, Dallas Cowboy fans 2 weeks ago, they were talking about the excuses and everything else, and suddenly you get 2 wins in a row, and everybody's feeling good about themselves. Well, most people. Well, one guy's feeling a little too good about himself, and so it brought to mind a certain thing going, playoffs. Playoffs? That's right, Micah Parsons. So at the end of Thanksgiving Day, they beat the Giants, and Micah Parsons goes, we're going to make a run. I think it's a little too premature for that, Micah. Listen, you won 2 in a row. You still got a lot of tough games on your schedule. You still got a beaten and battered team. You still got Cooper Rush at quarterback. That ain't Dak Prescott. Oh, timeout. Oh, slow to pump the horses. Pump the brakes, bro. Relax. Enjoy the win. You got it. You got Cincinnati next. You still got a Swiss cheese secondary. Your pass rush ain't whole. Do me a favor. Slow down. Enjoy the win. Enjoy the turducken. Go into your mini bye week. Get ready for the next game. Stop talking about playoffs, bro. You're not even in the picture right now. Okay? But nevertheless, kudos for winning your last 2 games, though. You made a lot of Cowboy fans very happy. Okay. Moving on. Thomas, you brought this up to start the show.
Oh, no. I got my tissues out.
This has got to be the most frustrating thing if you're a Raider fan because, yes, you lose to the Chiefs, but you almost had them. I mean, you literally almost had them. I mean, it was right there in front of you twice. Okay, the blocked field goal to end the game the first time, and this time you're getting there, and then a fumbled snap, and then everybody's talking about the refs. No, come on, how can you not snap the ball? I mean, come on, that's the most basic thing.
Seriously.
I'm sorry. I yell at my centers when they do that to my quarterbacks. It's the one thing you do every day, 1,000,001 times a day in practice. Okay, it's like kicking, an extra point. How could you not kick an extra point? I mean, come on. There are certain times, okay, when you look at it and go, okay, maybe it's the weather, a wet ball, or you're in a dome. Okay, actually, no, they were in Kansas City this time, so they weren't in the dome, but it wasn't wet. Okay, so nevertheless. Okay, you had the Chiefs dead to rights twice, and you let them. You had them on the hook. You had them on the hook, and you let them go. Okay, so listen, I know how frustrating a season it is for the Raiders, and think about it. Well, we lost our starting quarterback, Gardner Minshew. Well, was he really a starting quarterback? I don't know. I'm just saying. But nevertheless, it's been a rough year. I give Aaron Pierce a lot of credit. His team is still fighting, even though they were in the dregs of the league, but you're going to be rewarded with some nice draft picks coming out of this. So hopefully they make use of all of that. But nevertheless, you came this close. This close. You almost had it. Almost. That's our team chatter for this week.
Well, I think we got to chatter about it. So let's start with the firing first of the Bears head coach. I know if Christy Love was on the show, she'd be like, thank the Lord, I've been asking for this for weeks now. I want to hear from you guys. Jeff shed a lot of light on how he's feeling. Thomas, what are your thoughts on this, please?
I've heard Eberflus in the first 10 minutes of this show quite a few times, and you could actually make the argument that it's quote unquote unbearable. Apologies in advance for my corniness, but it's literally like, what are we doing here? And it, like in Chicago's case, I said this on the Off the Dome show a few months ago about how much pressure it was on Caleb Williams to get the job done for Chicago because of the weapons that they put together. And I immediately forgot that regardless of the talent, you still need a head coach to put it all together. I totally forgot about that. I apologize that I didn't mention that. That was kind of very important to put into perspective. But we all knew that Matt Eberflus was not the guy to begin with to start off the season. We knew it last year. Like, it was nothing new. We actually didn't think the Bears would be bold enough to do it in season. So we give kudos for them, having the balls to do it during the season. But at the same time, man, like, we all saw this coming. This is like, I'm trying to figure out a proper way to put this into perspective. This is like, you're at your job and you see that one coworker who just like finds a way to screw it up. And it just gets very creative on how they screw it up every single time. And they're not fired yet. And you just wonder, like, what are they doing behind the scenes? Do they have some, like, blackmail on the boss? Like, how are they still, employed? And then they screw it up to such a degree in front of everyone. Maybe it's a spill as a server. You spill the food. Or, you're working in the office and all the papers fly everywhere. And it got so bad that it happened in front of everyone that they couldn't excuse it. And they had to let him go. And that's literally what happened to Matt Eberflus. Because he's been doing this the last 2 years. This is nothing new. It shouldn't be new to anybody. But like I said, that should be one of the very last times I will ever say the name Eberflus, because that is literally unbearable. I don't think I can do it.
It's like saying Beetlejuice. It's like haunting you.
Yeah. It's like why? Why would you do that to yourself, We all saw this coming. I would hope someone with a logical mind would think that you saw this coming.
Well, I think the beginning of the season, the Bears were winning. They were doing well. Everyone was feeling good about the picks that they made, the drafting of Caleb, right? Things felt good in Chicago. But once the offense wasn't changing and then your coordinator's fired, now your head coach is fired. So, Jeff, when you're in a franchise like this, I mean, it's so much disarray. So what are you thinking for the back half of the season? Like, how is this going to be better for the Bears? Not even the fan base. I think just as a player, like, what are your thoughts on this?
As a player, when you're seeing this kind of turnover, there's no stability. So you have two choices. There are guys that shut it down and say, I'm going to prepare for free agency. Or there are guys that are saying, I'm still under contract. I got a house to pay for. I'm going to play for my job. So as far as the players concerned, you're either going to see players rally around the interim head coach, or you're going to see players in situations say, you know what, I'm going to throttle back and protect myself. I'm an investment. In this case, though, I think you're going to see them kind of rally around the coach, because plain and simple, they saw that. They saw how he let them down. Usually when a coach gets into this position where the players don't believe he can help them win, when he gets fired, you start to see guys rally around the new guy. Thank God he's going. You saw that with the offense. When Shane Waldron got fired, everybody came out and said, thank God he was holding us back. All of a sudden they came out and they're trying a lot harder. They're trying to do different things. You're seeing a new energy out of Keenan Allen and all of these guys, right? Mm-hmm. So you'll probably see the same kind of thing overall with the team. They saw what was going on in key situations. It's one of those things where you have to look at the situation as it is. This could have been avoided. Okay. I said it in the offseason. If you're going to keep Matt Eberflus, you should have kept Justin Fields. Okay. Because you don't have a rookie quarterback come in with a lame duck head coach. You can't do that because it doesn't set the rookie up. You have to, if you're going to draft a rookie quarterback high and make him your starter day one, you have to have a staff that he's going to grow with. There was never a chance of him growing with Matt Eberflus because Caleb Williams wasn't going to save Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus came in, whether it was Justin Fields or any other quarterback that he had, the offense always looked the same. It was always about the defense. It was always about playing with this symmetrical football, and it never was symmetrical. So at this point, you have to look at it and say, by doing this, you kind of set Caleb Williams back again. Because now whoever you bring in next year, even if it is Thomas Brown, now you're going to have a young head coach learning with a young quarterback. Now, they'll learn together, but you don't know if this guy's your head coach, right? It's better off having a guy you trust as a head coach who knows what he's doing, who can bring in an offensive coordinator that can groom this quarterback the way you need it to, who can manage situations offensively. Because no matter what, whether it was Shane Waldron, whether it was Thomas Brown, whether it was Luke Getsy, the offense always looked the same because it was kind of like, I want y'all to play in my style of football. And that was Eberflus's style, which is now out the door.
Yeah, we've definitely seen Keenan Allen and DJ Moore a lot more in the past 2 weeks. So
absolutely.
I feel like as a Chicago player, how do you not view this front office as a joke? Like seriously, because it's one of those things where it's like, I get it, you know, we're in the NFC North, very talented division. Got the Lions, the Packers, the Vikings, all these teams in there. I know we wasn't expecting to win the division here, but to have some of these performances on both sides of the ball, it's like, what are we doing? And it was like when they got rid of Shane Waldron, it was like, oh, okay, cool. Now the offense starting to put some points on the board. But we all knew that nothing was going to change until Eberflus was gone. Like we all knew that Shane Waldron was just one domino before ultimately the big chip fell down. And it just never fell until this past Thursday. And so as a player, I can't help but to look at this front office as like, so y'all already knew he was bad. Y'all tried him anyway. Then it sucked. So y'all thought it was somebody else's fault. Then y'all finally figured out it was him. Then y'all fired him. Don't y'all think it's a little bit too late? Like, I don't think I trust you now. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start hearing people like say, hey, you know, bump the fact that I have a contract extension with you. I may want out because the way that you are running this operation is foolishness. I would not be shocked because at some point you got to ask the question, like, what are we doing here? It's ridiculous. So I just felt like that was very important to point out. Like as a player, you're kind of like, are we really doing this right now? There ain't no way we're doing this, are we? So I don't know.
yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting turn of events for Chicago. I mean, the Raiders got who they wanted at head coach, and we're still dropping the ball. We don't have a QB. There's many problems going on when you talk about franchises that look like they're a mess, you know? So I think this conversation carries on with just more than one franchise, which we talked about the Giants earlier. We've talked about the Raiders for sure. The Cowboys were kind of messy with all the headlines they had themselves in. There was a lot going on. So, yeah, very excited to see what happens, especially for an offense that is doing well. I mean, shoot, I know nobody's been playing Keenan Allen on their fantasy team in the last 2 weeks. They're probably like, dang, I really missed out. So,
well, he finally got opportunities to make the plays that he needed to make the plays. And like I said, different coordinator, different vision,
yes.
Right? So, you're seeing the same thing with DeAndre Swift. He's come alive, all right, in the past few weeks. Different coordinator, different vision, all right? So I think what you're seeing is, Yes, Thomas Brown is different. He doesn't see things the way that previous coordinator saw. But what you're also seeing right now is, okay, well, now we're going to see him not only as a coordinator, but as a head coach. So what I worry about in this situation is because he's immediately just become an interim coordinator. He was never a coordinator before this year, right? So he just became a coordinator. Now he's an interim head coach to go along with it, okay? Usually that's a lot to put on somebody's plate when you're an experienced coach. There's a lot to put on their plate when they're an interim, right? So it's going to be weird to see, but you may see a bit of a separation where the defensive coordinator gets a lot of power to manage the defense alone. Okay, so he's going to have a chance to manage the game as a whole, but it's kind of hard as a head coach to walk away while the defense is on the field and work on the offense with your back to the field, right? So there's going to be a lot of reliance on his position coaches to fix certain things and halftime adjustments to fix the whole picture.
Oh, man. See, I feel bad. I feel like I'm letting the Bears down already. Here I am doing this show with you guys. I'm supposed to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears. What am I doing right now? Oh, my God. I have a whole Eagles jersey? What am I doing? They haven't fired me yet. See, and that's why, as a player, I do not trust the front office. They're not even paying attention to what they're doing right under their nose.
So you see, you're learning your first lesson as a head coach, Thomas. You're supposed to be talking like this,
or at least cover myself up or something. Like I just have none but Eagles colors, got an Eagles background. But I'm the head coach of the Chicago Bears. This ain't my childhood room here. Like this is ridiculous. What have I done? And the Bears have not said anything to me, so I think I'm good for the next 3 years. So thanks, appreciate it. Man, this organization sucks.
Well, with that, we're going to take a quick break before we break down the games for today. Are you looking for an energy boost during the day, but you don't like the coffee crash? Be sure to check out Clean Cause. They have delicious yerba mate teas with 150 milligrams of caffeine, but without the jitters. They also donate 50% of their net profits to help with drug and alcohol addiction. Interested in more? Click the link in our bio to get your first case. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Moving the Chains here on Team NBS Media. We just broke down our team chatter, so if you missed it, you missed a great conversation about the Bears and Eagles' new job. I mean, Thomas's new job, not with the Eagles, but with the Bears. Where he'd rather be. All right, today we actually have really exciting games. Last week, we did all think they were going to be duds. I don't think anyone can say that when they looked at that Titans-Texans game, they were thinking it was going to be very fun. But last week was an exciting slate. Let's kick it off with the Steelers and the Bengals. Division matchups, we know that these get tighter and crazier as the season comes out. Joe Burrow is playing absolutely lights out because he knows that he is the only person he can rely on when it's coming to closing and winning these games. So I'm going to give Thomas the Bengals here, and their only option is to really win out. They got to win the next 6 just to contend within their division. What is going wrong with the Bengals? First off, how are they down bad so badly?
Have you seen their defense? My God, that's number one. They don't know how to stop the run, stop the pass. I'm pretty sure if you asked them if they knew how to pass gas, they probably wouldn't tell you how to do that. That's how bad it's been. But I mean, in all seriousness, though. By the way, breaking news: the season's over.
Oh.
Bengals fans, let's not do this, okay? You have a long shot. Don't get me wrong, but this season is a wrap. This is a no-no. Your defense is way too porous. Okay, even with it being healthy, it's still trash. It still is undisciplined. Penalties everywhere. They don't know how to stop the pass. They're having to struggle with the pass more than anything. And I think that's kind of what's been kicking them in the ass all year, honestly. Because they're actually not, too bad against the run. But when it's a pass play, it's like it's a quarterback's dream. Someone's always wide open. But as far as the Bengals is concerned, man, like I don't know what to say. If you've had 27 plus points in your last 3 games and you haven't won any of them, I don't know what there is for me to say to help you. I feel like you're doing what you are needing to do to win games. Your defense is just that god awful, and there's no saving it. So as far as Cincinnati is concerned, it's like this season is pretty much a wrap. If you look at the AFC, you have Baltimore, Kansas City, Buffalo, the Chargers, the Steelers. We need to have some conversations about this team, but the Texans, like when you start looking at all these teams, it's like, and then you say the Bengals. It's like, huh? Why them? Where they come from? So this season is done. Just accept it. I'm sorry. I really don't. I got nothing. Usually I'm the one that would tell you it's as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. I got nothing. Defense is terrible. Joe Burrow is awesome. Jamar Chase is open like 7-Eleven, even right now. The game's not playing, but I'm pretty sure he's still open. I don't know. I really don't know what to say. I got nothing.
You got it, though. The red zone defense is the worst in the NFL, allowing opponents to score nearly 71% of the time. But have no fear, because the Steelers' offense ranks 30th in the red zone, so their scoring percentage is only 44%. So I think maybe they could use it to their advantage today in the division matchup. They're playing at home. The home field advantage could be a big deal. So for Pittsburgh, Jeff, one thing you should know, the Steelers are 5-0 versus teams above 500, but they're 3-3 when they're 500 and below. So clearly Pittsburgh has their flaws as well. What do you think is going wrong here for Pittsburgh?
Well, the one thing that Pittsburgh struggles with is putting opponents away. When you watch their games, when they're winning or even if they're losing, most of their games are tight games. You can't keep poking the bear when it comes to losses. You got to put opponents away. They're not great at doing it. Okay? You saw that in their loss to the Cowboys. You saw that in that game where they had to come back and fight to beat Washington. You saw that last week where they lost again. So this team has to learn to get a lead, build a lead, and maintain it for 4 quarters. They can't do it. They're not explosive, at least consistently. They're getting better at running the football, which is a plus. We know how good their defense is. They're starting to get better at finding plays down the field, which is helping their offense move, which is why their scoring is going up. And know people beat up Justin Fields. He couldn't get it done. He did okay, but he played to what they wanted him to play to. They're playing a lot more free with Russell Wilson. They believe in the veteran. So that's why this offense has changed so much. Not so much because, he's so much better than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's so much better than Justin Fields. They trust him with the football more to throw the ball down the football field. So with that being said, they have to be able to do that earlier and often in games. Build leads, not just get a lead, but build on it. Double digits, maintaining that. So they're not fighting to hold on to leads at the end of games. That's what's killing them. That's the reason why they're struggling at times in some of these close games. And honestly, they could struggle tonight and lose this one if they let it stay close. They got to get on top of Cincy early. They've got to be able to get a big enough lead when at the 4th quarter, they're letting their pass rushers go off on Joe Burrow. They cannot let this be a 6-point game with 5 minutes left in the 4th. That is not going to be a winning situation for Cincinnati. For Pittsburgh, because Cincinnati can score.
I think Chase Brown has done a phenomenal job helping out the Bengals offense, Thomas, since that's your team. What are some good things that you can say are happening for Cincinnati, even though they're not closing these games out? Clearly, their offense is firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, it's simple. Joe Burrow. Like, it's really that simple. It's Joe Burrow, a guy that they paid a whole lot of guaranteed money to, and Jamar Chase, a guy that they should have already got a contract done for. Which, by the way, what are we doing? Like, is this week 13? Do I got this right? Is week 13 on the season?
You got it.
Yeah. 13 weeks into the year, you still haven't taken care of Jamar Chase. What are we doing as a front office? T. Higgins is also on your roster. You were talking forever about trading him. Never did. What are we doing? Are we going to pay him or not? What are we doing here? Chase Brown is a very solid piece. I think he helps keeps the chains from moving. Excuse me. As far as the yards per play in his regard, but I'm sorry, it doesn't get much better than Joe Burrow just slinging it around everywhere. It's literally that. Honestly, if Cincinnati were to be playing Madden, this would be a totally different story. We'd probably be talking about them being one of the best in the AFC, but it's not Madden. The defense sucks. The offensive line is not the greatest. Kind of stinks. A little stinky, if you will. But, it really is as simple as Joe Burrow. It really is. Because what he's been able to do, despite him getting beat up time in and time out, it's literally ridiculous. And it's giving me shades of the old Charger years with Phillip Rivers, where he had all these passing yards, but it had no wins to show for it because the team's defense found a way to let him down. So I feel like we're just watching a mirror image of that.
Yeah, that's a actually great comparison because Joe Burrow's getting knocked out and he's still getting up and throwing these phenomenal balls. So maybe the home field advantage can help him out today, but we won't find out who you're picking till the end of the show. All right, next up, we're going to talk the Chargers, who had a great game last week against the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, the first half was nice. The second half wasn't so nice. And today, they're taking on the Falcons, which I think this could be a game they will do better in, but they are playing a very electric offense with the Atlanta Falcons. So last week, Chargers gave up a season high of 212 yards to the Ravens. And there is another running back on this Falcons team who is very good. He's not Derrick Henry, but he's on his way to be somebody like that. So I think this Atlanta game is really just like a tale of defenses. And we've been talking very well about the Chargers defense. So let's just throw it back real quick. What was one of the Chargers defense's mistakes when they were taking on Baltimore in that second half? I think that's where things were just getting out of hand. They couldn't control the game anymore. So I'll give it to you, Jeff.
One of the issues was Baltimore realized that run Derrick Henry. Okay, keep running Derrick Henry. Right, so it's nice to throw the ball with Lamar, but when you have the ability to hand off to an enigma in Derrick Henry, that people just don't know how to solve that. That's a guy who defies logic. Most guys his size at 30 years old don't do what he does. Okay, so we have the ability to use your MVP caliber quarterback in that enigma in the backfield, something they didn't utilize versus Pittsburgh the week before in that 2-point conversion. They utilized it in the second half. It has slowed down the pass rush of the Chargers. It allowed them to find holes in the secondary. It allowed them to get big runs in crucial situations. You sign this man to open up your offense, let him do it. They did that in the second half.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when we were talking about Saquon. I feel like we're talking about the future, the next game, when really we're talking about the Chargers.
You signed them to open up your offense, let them do it. The Eagles figured it out. Now the Ravens have figured it out. It's funny that they meet today.
Yeah, yeah. Well, all right. Let's change the question here. Which team is better in your opinion when you're talking about the Falcons and the Chargers?
To me, on
Yeah.
paper, it would be the Falcons, but as of right now, the way they're playing is the Chargers. Yes, they lost to Baltimore last week, but they've been playing way better than Atlanta. Granted, Atlanta's had injuries, but even before the injuries, Atlanta has been inconsistent offensively, defensively. So the team that's been way more consistent has been the Chargers. Despite the fact that we've seen the wholesale changes they made this offseason, Jim Harbaugh's brand of football he's been able to relate it to this team, so they're playing the way he wants it to play. Couldn't beat his brother last week. Hard to do when he has the team he has, but nevertheless, they've been playing the better football all season long. So I would say the Chargers right now are the better team, not the Falcons.
All right. What about you, Thomas?
It is definitely the Chargers. It's not even remotely close. I know they had a bye week, so they thought they were unscathed from my slander, but it's a little bit too little too late. I saw what happened in Denver. I saw an offense that was completely inept, that didn't feel like passing the ball around at all.
For sure.
I saw a defense that got lit up by Bo Nix, which, in fairness, quite a few teams have had that to say about Bo Nix this year. So don't feel too bad. But my God, like when you're looking at the Chargers, you're looking at a team who literally embodies everything that Jim Harbaugh personifies. A physical football team. We're going to run the football. We're going to stop the run. And we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. And we're going to hit you in the mouth over and over and over again, whether you like it or not. And you know what? We do also have a pretty good quarterback too. Now, it would be nice that certain people could actually catch the football, like a Quentin Johnston, if you will.
Oh, God.
But outside of that, Lad McConkey is still pretty good. He's still very productive in his rookie year. Apparently, they trust Will Dissly more than Quentin Johnson. It's the second time I've said Quentin Johnson's name today. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, the Chargers from top to bottom, they don't even have it all together yet, honestly. One minute, Khalil Mack is in the lineup. Next moment, Joey Bosa's, in the lineup, then he's out. So it's a lot of moving chairs on defense. So for them to still be productive like they've been this year, you can't look at any other way than that. But on paper, of course, you would love to look at the Falcons. But no, I just saw what they did in Denver. Please.
Yeah, I think people were pretending that didn't happen.
Please, not I. I watched it. I was there. I was there for it. And not because I didn't bet on the game. Because I definitely did.
Simply for yourself.
That was ridiculous. That was terrible. Never again.
We know why Greg feels this way. He actually picked.
It's simply for me.
Yes. Sorry, Greg. I told you that was coming.
But in the first half, he was probably feeling really good about himself, okay?
A lot of people feeling good about him. I felt great about my my lone wolf pick on Thanksgiving until the last 30 seconds of the game.
At least you didn't pick the Giants, Joe. I don't know who's picking the Giants 2 weeks in a row. All right.
Yeah, well, Joe, we told Joe not to do it. We warned Joe not to do it.
I mean, we both said there's no way you're picking Tommy Cutlets to win this game.
And he didn't even play Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
They did play Drew Lock, and it didn't matter.
Jeez Louise. Ridiculous.
But Cutlets will be back.
Oh, God.
Please don't.
All right. It feels only right since Thomas is here. We should talk about his team. Plus, it is one of the key matchups of the week. Plus, we basically hyped up Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley in the game that we were talking about before, which was clouded by the amazing play of Derrick Henry. So this is a battle of the two best running backs, arguably, in the league right now. And their running games have been absolutely dominant for their offenses. So I think this is going to be a fun one. It will be in Baltimore. And I feel like home field advantage in this game is just going to be a huge asset. Thomas, feels only right to give you Baltimore, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, stop it. How dare you? You as my mentor, you gotta do better than to treat me like that. Come on now.
I'll let you talk your game.
No,
Eagles won 7 straight, right? They're playing great. Finally got things right, as Jeff said earlier. He figured it out, and he told them himself they'll figure it out. So what's your defensive strategy on Derrick? You saw what he did to the Chargers, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, Derrick Henry is going to be Derrick Henry. Okay? Let's just accept that for starters. Number one. Derrick Henry's going to be Derrick Henry. But I don't know. I don't know what you could do to actually hinder Derrick Henry. You could say limit. Like, I think it was not too long ago that Cincinnati did a pretty fair job at limiting Derrick Henry. But then, of course, the Cincinnati Bengals became the Cincinnati Bengals and allowed Derrick Henry to have a big run. So, by default, kind of, still productive. But for a large majority of that game, Derrick Henry was very limited. I don't think that'll be the case with us. We struggled with the run game with Kyren Williams last week. He was averaging 4.8 yards per carry. So it wasn't like, we were stopping the run on last Sunday. But we do have the pieces to do it. I'll say that. We have the pieces to do it. This is a defense that has allowed under 21 points in 7 of the last 8 games. So it's not totally impossible, but let's just be realistic. Eagles. Derrick Henry is going to Derrick Henry. It's really that simple, baby. And I'm at peace with that. I've understood that. I've embraced it, actually. This is a therapy that I've always needed. I got it.
Okay, so Lamar is 23-1 against NFC opponents, but we tend to see Lamar kind of fall apart when he's playing teams at this level. When he played the Chiefs, when he's played anybody else in his division, really, he's kind of fallen a little flat. So, what are the Baltimore Ravens doing against? Their defense has been pretty bad, right? Their pass defense is not something that can stop one of the best wide receivers out here, Mr. A.J. Brown. So for Baltimore, you're coming off a big win. What can Lamar do here to just combat whatever nerves he gets when he takes on stronger opponents within the league?
It's just he doesn't have to do it all, right? You have Derrick Henry. You have your young tight end to go along with your veteran tight end. Bateman is starting to play a little bit better. You still have Flowers in the slot. You have more weapons than you've had in the past. You don't have to be Superman, right? We know you are, but you don't have to be all the time. You can be Clark Kent and win ball games. So I think that's one of the things he's starting to understand at times is I don't have to be Superman all the time. I can throw this ball away. I can run out of bounds. I can do a lot of that stuff. Now, he's going to be pressed this week, though, to score. Why? We know how the Ravens defense plays at times. They're going to give up points, especially to the Eagles, who are playing very well. The one solace is you're not going to have to worry about 2 stud receivers today. You're going to have to worry about one, and that is A.J. Brown. It's not likely Devontae Smith plays. So that right there allows you to say, okay, we got to focus a little more that way. We still got to worry about the tight end. We still got to worry about the backs coming out of the backfield. They still have quality receivers elsewhere, but they don't have the 2 stud guys that can take the top off the defense right now. So that's the one thing they got to look at this situation and go, be careful. Now, don't let Brown have a huge day. Let him get his catches, take away Saquon, limit what they're doing, try and force a couple of errors on defense. But as far as your quarterback, don't go out there and be Superman if you don't have to be. Just go out there drive the bus, help us keep the points on the board, and help our defense out, because this has got to be a game where turnovers are going to hurt you. Right? If you turn it over against the Eagles and give them a short field, they're going to beat you. So definitely no turnovers. Go out there, drive the bus, make a play or two when you have to, but for the most part, don't be Superman.
I think this is going to come down to the kickers. I'm going to keep it 100. And both of these kickers have been struggling, okay? Jake Elliott used to be one of the best. Same with Justin Tucker. And now we've seen them just not complete these big kicks that they are just known to do. And I think, like you just closed out with the turnovers, like, I feel like if the Eagles defense forces a couple fumbles, there's an interception in there, there's going to be some kind of sprinkle of the secondary that's going to turn this whole game around. Thomas, what's wrong? You could talk about your kicker drama, because I know it's for real.
Oh, my God. Look, I love Jake, okay? I do. But this year, he's like the equivalent of like the classic soap opera Young and the Restless, where you love the show for years. It's been a great run. But then you have some episodes that are like, that didn't make sense. And what happened there? And what was this about? Look, I don't want to show my age, okay? Literally, my mom was watching Young and the Restless when I was younger. If I wasn't at school, that was up, okay? So by default, I was kind of screwed. The point is that I saw a lot of points in times during this season where Jake Elliott would be literally 35 yards out, and it goes wide left or wide right. And it's like, what is going on? And then you look at the replay, the snap isn't wrong. You know, it's very rare that it gets blocked. Of course, you know, you had Myles Garrett earlier on in the year. But, my God, like, what is going on with your leg? It's like, I really don't know. It honestly gives me a little bit of cause to pause, given how this game is going to be. But, yeah, man, I don't know. And I love Jake. Jake has won a lot of big games for us. But my God, this year, oh boy, it has not been pretty.
Yeah, and I feel like they're going to be in some third and long situations where they're going to put Justin Tucker out there or Jake Elliott. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of missed field goals. Like, I feel like every year around this time, when there's kicks that matter, there's a missed point that really bums it, or the field goal that's missed, the Houston Texans. So there's just been a lot of these things. You're not alone, you know? Also, the Raider game was its own problem when you're talking about
I was about to say, I want to say this out loud. I was the one of many that betted on Daniel Carlson to get me 2 field goals. And it was a lock before halftime. And I'm like, okay, he missed the first one. Okay, fine. You know, shit happens. It's Kansas City. Then he missed again.
I know.
I'm like, whoa. I'm like, okay, wait a second. Then he had an opportunity to kick again, and he missed again. I was like,
it's an ugly time for kickers right now.
I'm betting on it. This is ridiculous. Like, what is this?
It's an ugly time for kickers. Okay, everyone. I think we're nearing our fantasy playoffs, and I haven't asked any questions about fantasy. So since we have Thomas here, I feel like it's only right. We should have a little breakdown of who you're starting today to get you to the playoffs. So tell me your key players you got to start today. There were too many games on Thursday for me to like and enjoy fantasy football. I'm going to keep it so real. I had to pick way too many players.
Right. No.
All right. Who's your must start today?
Ooh. Go ahead, Jeff.
All right. So looking at the matchups, if I'm going to start somebody today, I gotta say, I'm going to start Matthew Stafford versus New Orleans' defense. I think there's points to be had there. New Orleans, although they played better the past few weeks, still gives up a lot of points. So I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford and those receivers against New Orleans' defense.
Okay, not bad. I think for me, it would probably be Nico Collins against the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a Jacksonville Jaguars team that has had a lot of opportunities to give up big plays to wide receivers. And with Nico Collins being mainly CJ Stroud's main target, I think it's only fitting that he has a big game today. Might be looking at him having 100 yards and the Texans offense getting back in stride. They really do need this game to get it together. So why not now? You know, I think Nico against his defense, he'll have a lot of fun, have a lot of receptions, might mess around and get you 20 points today. So I would do Nico Collins against Jacksonville defense.
Yeah, I think if you're playing anyone from Houston, you know that this is like a revenge game. So I feel bad since Jacksonville has been absolutely struggling. Question of the day. It's snowing like crazy in Buffalo. Are you playing any 49ers offensive players?
What?
I think you could play Debo, but I wouldn't, play.
Really?
Is Brock Purdy not playing?
No, I think he's back today. From whatever, I think he's back today. So, but nevertheless, I don't expect it to be a lighted up aerial attack for San Francisco. I expect some running. I expect the Bills to slow down their running game. But the guy like Debo, who's going to catch the ball and run the football, is going to get you fantasy points. So I can see you starting a Debo Samuel in that kind of weather, who's going to get you dual threat points, as opposed to some of the other guys, on the outside who just are not going to get you a ton of points today. I don't see it being that kind of day for San Francisco, lighting it up in Buffalo, in those conditions especially.
I was about to say, I think that's why I gave the reaction I did, because if there's one thing I know about the 49ers, they don't like things being particularly cold. Okay?
They're like their own Miami version, for sure.
They're their own Miami version, but no one talks about them, right?
Yeah. Only because they're the Niners.
Only because they're the. It's like the brand name. It's like you have Nike and then you have Knicks. It's like wait. It's the same thing. It's just the brand's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, Buffalo used to be in those climates, playing in that environment at home. Josh Allen, that offense is going to be firing on all cylinders. The 49ers, ironically, their defense is a joke. So, yeah, I just don't trust. It's hard for me to trust any 49er player tonight. It really is. The snow, even if they remove as much snow as possible, it's going to be cold, which is something that they're not particularly familiar with so far this season. I don't know. I don't like it. I really don't. Even with Brock being back, the offensive line is still struggling. It's been giving up some sacks. The Bills' pass rush will be there tonight. I don't know. I don't know. I might have to set them all down.
It's going to be an ugly game for sure. The Niners have not had the season that they were expecting. All right, this is my last question. I feel like it's a deep thought here, but the running back situation is ugly in the waiver wire. And Greg just sparked this question in my head. With the Washington Commanders having injury with Eckler and Brian Robinson Jr.'s off and on, are you playing their third string, Mr. Jeremy McNichols?
Why not?
Mr. Boise State himself, I would. I mean, he's one of the guys coming out of the draft I thought was a steal in the mid rounds and late rounds. I think he fits what they do. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's the guy that's going to get the ball today. You start him. He's going to get his carries. He's going to get his yards. In red zone, he could possibly get you those touchdowns to go along with the zone read option that they have. So I think you have a back there that can help them, even though they have injuries ahead of them with Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. So I would use him. If you have him in fantasy and you picked him up because of the injuries to those other guys, I would utilize him because he may not get you 150 yards rushing, but he may get you 60 yards and a touchdown, which is 100 very long. So right there, I think he's worth the steal.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's going to be tricky because that Titans run defense doesn't allow much.
Mixon did not eat at all in that game.
Yeah, they don't allow a whole lot, which is the one thing that they can hang their hat on as a defense. But McNichols, he will get his carries, he will get his touches, he will be involved. And if there's one thing that I know about Washington, they love to run that football as much as they possibly can, so that way they could create some space for Jaden Daniels and the passing offense to be effective. So McNichols might get some love today, especially against the Titans defense, especially in the red zone. So I could definitely see him mess around and get 15 points. It would not shock me at all.
Okay, I love that. All right. Now it's time for our favorite time of the day, the rapid fire selections. So Jeff, take it away.
Yes. Now that I am back officially in the second place with Ashmere reclaiming her first place position, it's time to try to make some headway and get that back. Time to get back to the top. So here we go. Starting it off, one of the big games of the day, Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Joe's going Steelers. What say y'all?
I really want the Bengals to win. Like on the inside, that's what I really want. So I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with that. Okay. My gut's telling me Bengals. Getting my B's mixed up. So I'm going with Cincinnati.
Well, I'm gonna agree with Joe. I think Pittsburgh gets it done. So I'm gonna go Pittsburgh here.
Okay.
What do you think, Thomas?
Wow. I just think Cincinnati's gonna. It's gonna be a shocker. Give me the Bengals today.
Oh my God! I thought I was gonna be lone wolfing on the Bengals, which could be.
You're the panel. You're officially lone wolfing, but you got Thomas backing you up. So
yeah, Thomas.
You're lone wolfing with a friend in the distance.
It's the best mentorship that has always existed. Love it.
So the Rebound Bowl, the Chargers and the Falcons, both of these teams lost their last games. So Atlanta at home versus the Chargers. Joe is going Atlanta. I'm going to go Chargers. I believe in the Fighting Hardball as the rebound.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the Chargers defense kind of banged up, but I'm going to pick the Chargers as well.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins ought to be sacked a lot.
Yeah, give me the Chargers, man. I think the way the Falcons are playing, they're playing like a joke, honestly. And if their division wasn't so bad, they would not stand a chance to win it, honestly. They have to thank God that the Buccaneers don't have Chris Godwin.
Yeah, for sure.
And they have some injuries on defense, because if they did, it's the Buccaneers' division to lose. I can say that, because Baker's been balling all year. So
4 straight years, potentially.
Yeah. Come
4
on.
straight years.
Let's hope so. He deserves it.
He really does. He's been balling his ass off this year. I'm very proud of Baker. He's been shutting a lot of people up.
All right, we're going to pick Houston, obviously. I mean, it's not so obvious anymore, but...
Well, is it really after Tennessee last week?
Exactly, right.
Their picks the last 3 weeks have been quite tenuous other than the Dallas pick. Let's be realistic. They've been very shaky. Wow. Very shaky.
Okay. Ashmere.
So Greg is going Texans. He's making a bold prediction that they're going to send Trevor Lawrence back to injured.
Yeah, that's a deep cut.
Oh my God, Greg!
Reel it in, brother. I'm going with Houston.
Oh my God! One thing for them to lose, he has to go right back to IR. What is wrong?
Poor guy.
Houston, thou art have burned me recently. You have scathed thy heart. But nevertheless, I can't pick the Jaguars either, so I'm going to Houston.
Not today. We may be talking about a Peterson firing next week. Just
Are you
saying.
ready for this?
Well, listen, it's long overdue. The word was going into that game 2 weeks ago, there wasn't vast improvement. Somebody was gone, and we didn't see the wrath of Khan after all. We saw the patience of Khan. I think it's running thin now.
I'm gonna do a shocker, y'all. I don't know what's going on in Houston. The last time they played, the game was close. Give me Jacksonville today.
Okay,
so we're gonna give Thomas the unofficial lone wolf. On
the worst game of the day.
Since we don't have Joe here for our typical Snagglepuss lone wolf sound effect, we're gonna give you our lone wolf.
Yes.
All right. Oh, there it is. There's Snagglepuss. There he is.
That was wonderful.
For those of you too young to know who Snagglepuss is, you have to go on YouTube and look up Snagglepuss. You will understand why we call that the Snagglepuss lone wolf. All right. Snagglepuss was too cool to do all that jazz to him. That's why it's called Snagglepuss lone wolf. All right. So here we go. All right. Cardinals, Vikings. Two teams that have found ways to get it going.
I really want Arizona to win, but I'm going to go with Minnesota. Okay. I don't like it, though, but that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I'm going to go Vikings as well. I think they get it done. I think that one of the things that Arizona struggles with is the blitz. You're going against a guy that loves the blitz.
Yeah.
So, while I'm worried about that secondary versus Arizona's receivers, I do think they get it done today.
Okay. Kyler's just kind of been falling flat a little. Last week was a little dangerous. He wasn't doing his best, so.
Yeah, well, it's partially because of the blitz. Teams have figured out they can't pick up the blitz.
Poor guy.
You know what, man? I like what Arizona's doing, man. I really do. It's a lot of the games aren't blowouts, but they have shown me so far this year that it doesn't matter what kind of game they're willing to play. They will play. You want to get physical with them? We can get physical and run it with James Conner. You want to have an air raid? We got Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride. We got people. I got them doing the upset. Give me Arizona today on the road against my Minnesota team, who is a little bit shaky. I know they're 9-2, a little shaky today.
Well, it's a lot. There's two of them, Ashby. He's got. Look at that.
He's
coming on.
His own brain.
He's got that dog in him. He's got that wild dog in him right there. All right. So Colts, Patriots. Joe's going Colts.
Oh my God, it's so ugly.
That's a terrible game.
I'm gonna pick the Patriots. I think their defense can shine bright sometimes, and this is one of the days they're gonna shine.
What you thinking, Jeff?
Well, Greg is taking the Patriots at home.
Okay.
Listen, their defense has been playing phenomenal. No doubt about it. I think the dual threat quarterback gives them a problem at times. I think this is
let's go Drake May.
Give me the Colts in this one on the road.
Okay, Joe's lone wolf is with Indy.
No, he's not lone wolfing. I'm with him.
Oh, sorry. I don't know why I thought you picked the Patriots.
No, we split on this one.
Wow. You know what? Give me the Patriots at home today.
Yeah.
Yeah. If this is on the road, it would be a little bit of a different story because I don't know what the difference is between them on the road versus at home. I guess there's no place like home, but their defense plays better at home. Their O-line is actually fairly serviceable. So I don't know. It's like it flips a switch when you go on the road. It's like they're completely inept. I don't understand, but yeah.
Okay.
Give me New England.
We got 3 Colts here.
So here we go. All right. Geno Smith returns to the scene of the crime. Seahawks come to the Meadowlands to take on the Jets. Just end the season.
That's a good one. Yes.
That's older than me, brother.
Yeah.
That is great. Okay, well, obviously we never heard it before. Okay, Jeff?
You got to be from New York and no Jet fans. That was their cry when they were back. Just end the season.
Just end the season. Wow.
All right.
All right, you pick first.
Okay, well, I'll make it simple for you. All right,
Please.
there you go.
Please. That was probably the most layup game I've seen so far. Like, that is ridiculous. Look, you have to be a fool to take the Jets today. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Like, literally,
well, you know, you can call me a fool. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to pick Seattle.
I was about to say, Ashmere, come on now. What are we doing? Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. And look, I get it. You know, Seattle has a lot of traveling miles on this game, but give me Seattle, man. That team's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah. All right. So Tennessee goes to Washington. Joe has his Commanders.
Wow.
Tennessee
This is weirdly interesting.
Tennessee played with a lot of fight last week, but you know what? You don't play the Titans. You don't play the Texans every week, and that's a rivalry because of the owner.
Ooh. Oh, Greg has Tennessee. Huh.
Yeah, well, now that Washington's not hot anymore, he gets to go back to hating him again. So that's yeah.
I don't blame him.
I'm kind of torn here.
Me too.
But
Genuinely.
I think I'll go Commanders.
Commanders.
Because they still scored an 86-yard touchdown, you know? Like, they were right there.
Right there is as good as horseshoes and grenades, or whatever the old saying is. Give me the Commanders, though.
Okay.
I thought you were going to pick your Tennessee defense out here.
I was, but all it takes is for Jaden Daniels to throw it all over them. Their pass defense is still very suspect. So
Greg rolling solo with the Titans.
Okie dokie. I was about to say,
wow.
you were going to help him out there, were you?
I thought about it.
I don't blame him for taking Tennessee though. I really don't. Like it's a game that you would think it's a layup. Like Washington should win this game, but Tennessee loves to screw up a lot of people's seasons. Shit, they did it with Houston last week. So,
all right. So Tampa Bay with a big divisional opponent in Carolina. Teams know each other very well. Carolina's been playing on the up and up the past few weeks. Not so much like the putrid team that started the season and benched the guy that's winning for them right now. Baker Mayfield got Mike Evans back, got back on their winning ways. Mm-hmm. What say you? Matter of fact, he was throwing up the double cutlets last week in the
which was beautiful, by the way. Oh,
I'm gonna roll with Tampa Bay here. But it'll be a very close game. If the Panthers could do what they did to the Chiefs, anything can happen.
Yeah, give me Tampa. The Porta Potty Panthers, I think we might have to remove them from that category. They are no longer the Porta Potty Panthers to me. They are
Good
the
job.
Carolina Panthers. We've come a long way. I'm actually very proud of them. I never thought I would see the day, but we're here. We're here now.
Well, you called them the Porta Potty Panthers early in the season. Yes. I had the Bootios. Okay, I had the Bootios up for them because they were playing like booty. They ain't playing like booty anymore. But yes.
Oh Okay.
Greg is taking Tampa, so it's a clean sweep on Tampa.
Yeah.
All right. Rams at Saints. I talked about this in the fantasy segment. Doesn't mean that they win. Doesn't mean Stafford does put up numbers. But now it's time to put our money where our mouth is. Who are we picking? Joe is going Rams.
Oh, God. Yeah, Kyron Williams is too good. I'll go Rams, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow, these matchups are hard.
It's the Rams. It's the Rams. I don't think it's a rocket scientist sort of deal. Give me the Rams, man.
Yeah. I'm going Rams as well. And waiting on Rams. Okay, there you go. All right, the battle of the birds. Okay, here we go. Eagles invade Baltimore to take on the Ravens.
Thomas, we can let you go last.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Save the best for last, anyways.
Jeff hit it.
Well, what do you trust more, the bird that likes to catch its prey alive or the bird that likes the dead stuff? Well, the Eagles ain't left for dead. They like to catch their prey, and I say they catch their prey in the Ravens.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! One down. All right, come on, mentor. Don't let me down here.
Yeah, I think this is an A.J. Brown game through and through, so I'll pick Philly.
Oh, yes! Oh, yes! Which means, unfortunately, because Greg can't get beside himself as a Cowboys fan, he had to choose the Ravens. Give me the lovely Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. Oh, this is great. And look, win, lose, or draw, I am very proud for how far we've come this season. The season's about 2-2.
Lucky you.
I was looking at this team like, what are we doing here? Give me the Eagles today on the road.
We are fully split on this one.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for this game. You have no idea. I don't think I've ever seen this much hype since what? The Bills and Chiefs, maybe?
Oh, well, we were all picking the Bills for that.
Right.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
The Frostbite Bowl. Yes.
Right.
All right, here we go. Niners at Buffalo. We know about the 2 to 3 feet of snow that they're trying to clean up as we speak. Joe went Bills. Greg is going Bills.
Yeah.
Anybody going Niners here?
I think we're unanimous. The poor Niners are crumbling.
Yeah, no.
It's amazing what happens when teams learn how the other half lives, right? You know,
sure.
You get injuries, you don't win despite those injuries. For many years, they did that. They had injuries and just kept winning. Mm-hmm. Not so easy anymore, is it? Right?
Yeah. So yeah, give me Buffalo. It's their turf. I don't see San Fran just running roughshod on them. No, give me the Bills.
Here we go. All right.
Jameis Winston
at Denver.
I'm a big Jameis Winston fan after that game last week. I was not, obviously, because I'm an Oregon Duck, but that guy really knows how to turn a frown upside down, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I'm going to pick Denver.
I was not prepared for that swerve at all. I thought she was going to have the whole sermon ready for him
no.
week.
I'm going to prepare one, though. If they win, I will prepare one.
Listen, he ate the W last week, right?
Yes, he did.
They say we can eat the L.
Well, he's not eating it. He's buying it now. He's buying it off Amazon this week. So God bless him. You know what, man?
Unanimous on Broncos. Okay.
Yeah. Give me Denver, man. I do think Cleveland's going to give him a fight, though. Like, especially if Nick Chubb starts, who, if we're being honest, starting to turn to Nick Chubb old a little bit, the more he gets involved in the offense. And, the Jerry Jeudy reunion. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
He might mess around and have 100 yards. He had 80 last week. So it's feasible. I'm still taking the Broncos.
Now I'm considering this to change, but I'll just stick with Denver.
All right, so we're down to the last one. Last time these two teams met, it was
Detroit won that game, didn't they?
No, yes, Detroit won 24-14 in Green Bay. Green Bay looking to return the favor. Okay, and Greg is already saying, "Give me Detroit." So you know where Greg is leaning. Joe's leaning Green Bay on the road. I thought Detroit was right for the picking Thanksgiving Day. They were. Unfortunately, Matt Eberflus said, "Hold my beer." With that being said, the more you win, the closer you are to losing. Is this the week that they lose? Okay.
They can't afford it.
Is this the week they lose?
I really feel like they
with
can't.
Minnesota on their heels.
Yeah.
Is this the week?
Both of them. Both Green Bay and Minnesota on their heels. Like, I would have never thought with you being 11-1 that you still have to worry about teams stealing the division from you. That's literally what's going on with Detroit. Like, it's not a lot that they're going to win the division still. So they have something to play for. I'm taking Detroit, man. Give me Detroit.
I know you're waiting for me, Ash. Man.
I am waiting for you.
I'm going to tell you what. The more you win, the closer you are to losing.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like the Lions have a tough stretch of games coming up. Like, they play almost every opponent that you want to watch them beat or have a good game against, and this is one of them. So the Packers really know how to close out. Oh, God. I'm just going to stick with Detroit. But I believe the Packers could win this game. I'll pick the Lions.
Yeah. It might be one of those scenarios where Jordan Love throws an errant pick.
Yeah, he loves to do that.
He ironically, he loves to do that. So
yeah.
I don't know. Give me Detroit at home too, with something to play for. Still got the whole lot of come on.
Yeah, if it was in Green Bay, I might be on Jeff's side here.
Yeah.
They played in Green Bay. I thought they were going to win in Green Bay, but Detroit took it from them.
Right.
But I wouldn't be shocked. Listen,
not at all.
I thought they were going to split. I think this is where the split comes in. They do get it done in Detroit.
Okay. Wow.
And that's rapid fire for this week.
That was remember,
we had a heavy Thanksgiving weekend, so those games were already picked. And unfortunately for Joe, he picked the Giants on Thanksgiving Day.
Dude, that was tough.
What was he thinking?
He was thinking he was going to get one game up from the rest of us.
Well, he did great that week. He had one of the, as you saw in the rapid fire. He was 10-3. He had the best record.
Wow. Yeah. 10. Okay.
No, he was 12-4 with me. He was one behind you, Ashby, but he still had a great week.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was Greg that came up behind on it. So yeah.
Wow.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thomas, appreciate you being here. Everyone that's joining us, we go live at 8 a.m. I see you all joining us now, and we are saying goodbye. So for next week, be here earlier, and you'll be able to catch all the fun that we're having in the morning. Have a great Sunday, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your weekend, and be sure to like, subscribe, follow all of the good things for Team NBS Media, and we will see you next week.